Welcome everybody to week 2 of the ESL Pro League. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me today is YNK. We only need YNK today, that's all we need.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Why not cut the costs a bit for ESL, you know?
Keep it cheaper.
All the analysis you need right
Are we
here.
trying to say you're cheap?
No.
I didn't think so. You
could always pay me more though.
We could. We will see how it goes this week. Maybe we can up it. Maybe we can get Joe involved. Who knows? But let's talk about what happened here in the Pro League last week. First off, of course, the results on last Thursday. If you missed it, started off with an absolute belter. SK Gaming picking up 2 wins over Na'Vi, followed by Fnatic taking down Virtus Pro 2-0. Some very dominant matches there, no doubt about it. And of course, that leads us on to the league table, which is a bit of a strange one, really, to start things. Obviously, we can talk about who's at the top there. Your FaZe clans, your Fnatics. You expect them to start having some good wins. Envy, of course, but SK Gaming, that 2 wins, it gives them such a really big bonus over Na'Vi already, because they're one of the teams you expect to be down the bottom.
Definitely, and they showed in that matchup against Na'Vi that they came here to fight. They're gonna try and, of course, win every game they can. Last season they were fighting for survival.
Yeah.
Now we see them sweeping Na'Vi, which
is going to upset the entire league. Like that, I mean, you've got to look at it straight away. Don't forget that 12th place is an automatic relegation. Nobody wants to be down there. Of course, speaking of people that are down there, Virtus Pro at 0-4, and of course they're up against Dignitas today, a team that beat them at Leipzig. So this is not a good start for Virtus Pro.
Yeah, and also we have Snacks, who's been underperforming since the start of this year, basically, even though they haven't played as many matches. But Virtus Pro as a whole really need to step up their game, because Dignitas is one of those rising teams in the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how the league continues to pan out, but let's check out some of those highlights from last week. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ESL Pro League. Starting off, it will be SK Gaming up against Na'Vi.
This bomb side is already going to be gone, but nice shot there, and he just continues to freeze, picking up Flamey as well. What a great reply from SK. Magic picking up Zeus, and now it's all down to Seized. 1 versus 4, can't make it happen. This is a very, very brave move. Flashbang not going to touch him just yet. He takes out Seized, and the bomb is planted out in the open as well. So he's got 1 chance here to kill Edward. Goes for it, and Guardian is alone in a 1-on-4. Takes down 1 to beat a 1-on-3. Does a lot of damage. They've got to be careful here. They don't want to spark any kind of comeback here for Na'Vi. Grenade comes in once. Guardian going to go for the shot. That's now triple kill. And Muddy, does he have any idea where he's coming from? Guardian needs to just get 1 look at him here. And oh, it's a headshot as well.
SK Gaming just kind of dumps Na'Vi. So obviously moving on to Train.
To get a plant out this, he's going to have the drop onto at least Sicilian there. So going to go in for the plant. Maybe there's a chance he could get an angle on that.
Making his way back down, hitting the shot on Magic, turning around with a deagle in hand, looking for it. Pimp. Oh, he's going to get the headshot too, and now it's a quad kill. And he sees Muddy down there as well, and Muddy's on the bomb. Guardian, oh no, he's going to get shot in the face, and Muddy, he'll have enough time for the defuse. There is also a potential for a flank coming in. Freeze will find the opening frag, so now we're into a 3-on-3. There's not going to be a flank from the Na'Vi side, and Freeze is the one who has the kit, so he's going to have to be in that smoke right at the edge of it as well. Flamey upstairs, they're not shooting through yet, and the diffuse is going to come through.
See, but Flamey is right on the cusp here. And something just went bang in the studio, which is mildly terrifying. Thank you for that. But Flamey at least will get it.
16-12 in favor of SK as they defeat Na'Vi, not just on Cobblestone, but on Train as well.
As we have the Score Esports hot match of the week, it is, of course, Fnatic up against Virtus Pro. It's going to be Dust to an Overpass.
And again, you're right, the bomb would have been dropped, and Snacks, nice headshot on Crim's VP team, especially with Taz taking the bomb carrier, or actually that was Flusher dropping the bomb to Olaf Meister, so at least they get the bomb down here. But Olaf, again, in another clutch situation, trying to see if he can make it work, and Snacks, he's going to be going down, and now Olaf in a really good position.
This is tough. He's trying to turn it into a headshot angle. Oh, what a shot from Olaf. No way the Taz doesn't check this angle. No way. No way. Come on.
It looks like they want to at least keep them contained, but oh, Dennis gets a shot. Now he's at long. They can't hide anymore. Dennis making quick work of Taz and Pasha. And there's going to be enough time for the defuse, but it's not the final map. We do have 1 more between Virtus Pro and Fnatic. Now they're warmed up. I really want to see them come back. Even JW coming into it as well. That's Neo going down. Taz finally getting some work done here with the AK, but he's getting flanked as well, and he's out of bullets.
It's a very odd, weird situation. Flusher going ham right now, just looking for all the kills. He's even going to go in for the repeat. The wallbang doesn't work. Pretty much a hard eco. That would be unpredictable. Oh no, Taz point blank and Crims now. He's gonna be able to take the fight. 2 kills for him. It's down to Bialy with the P250 and Bialy decides to challenge. He just decides to try and catch Crims out in the open, give himself a better shot at basically getting some body shots in there with the P250. It just didn't pan out for him.
And now, of course, they were the tough matches last Thursday. But let's talk about what we have today. Starting things off, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be Fnatic up against G2. And it's a tough old one, there, no doubt about it. Cbble will be a tough map for G2. Inferno, not a bad map for G2. We'll find out how that one works out for them. And then, of course, Virtus Pro against Dignitas. That's going to be a good old slogging matchup, Ilyanko.
Well, yeah, it seems like in comparison to last year that these two teams are now in, they switched places. Now Dignitas is that team on the rise, fighting for those top 4 finishes, while Virtus Pro is struggling to even make it out of the group stages.
Yeah, at 0-4, it's going to be a lot of pressure on them, no doubt about it. You guys at home, don't forget to check out the Score Esports app as well for all your stats and information. You can get that over at the iOS and, of course, at Google Play, whichever you prefer, whichever phone you have. But at the moment, we're going to talk about, obviously, the first match of the day. Now, Yanko, this is a big one for you because I know you've done a lot about this one. Fnatic G2. And actually, the last time they faced on Inferno, it will be the second map, but I want to talk about this because it's quite a big deal. G2 actually beat them, and you've done a video on this, so you know all about it.
Yeah, well, the thing about G2 is that it's a team that has, really good... a really good game plan, some pretty cool strategies and so on, but they sometimes, they lack I can't say lack, they sometimes, make mistakes with some fundamental plays. Sometimes some of their players are not individually on par, and in order to be able to, compete with Fnatic, your individual players your players have to be on point individually. So you can't, make a lot of mistakes because they're going to capitalize on each and every one of them.
And we talked about this, obviously, last week because they played Astralis on this same map, and I think they started off like 6-0 down or 7-0 down, and they were real punished. They really got to make sure that doesn't happen again against Fnatic. I mean, their CT side is where they're going to get the power.
Yeah, they're going to get even more punished by Fnatic if that happens. And we have to remember that Scream had an amazing game on Cash. He had more than 30 kills, and also G2 had that great B strat.
On Cash,
with all the Molotovs and everything, which won them, a lot of rounds on that T side. And I don't think I don't think that's gonna fly with Fnatic. I think that their individual players and Fnatic as a team is really good at adjusting to things like that on their CT side. They're really mobile and reactive.
So let's talk about Cobblestone. Obviously, that is going to be the first map that they have to face Fnatic on. Probably the biggest task anyone can face. Fnatic on Cobblestone is literally just it's Cobblestone's the first map.
So ignore everything I said.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about their G2 strats. They do have those set strats, and that they've obviously proved it on Cash. But the problem is, their last match, they lost to CLG on Cobblestone. So now they've got to place Fnatic on Cobblestone. This is just an impossible task.
It's a tricky map for them. I mean, for both teams, they haven't played it as much. It seems that G2 maybe picked it up lately, or it was something that they were forced to play. They did lose to CLG. They did beat Cloud9. But then again, it's NA teams. I mean, what even is that?
I mean, they didn't even qualify for IEM, did they? It's like
we can just ignore those matches.
Brazil, please.
We are talking here about Fnatic. You cannot take results against NA teams. Yeah, but jokes aside, it's going to be interesting to see what both teams have prepared for this map in general. But as I said, when it comes to playing against Fnatic, you first have to be, on par with them individually. Because they're just going to send Olofmeister towards B platform by himself, and if he just picks out your team one by one, I mean, there's not much you can do about it. So they have to start out strong and don't let Fnatic steamroll them, basically.
And so we saw, actually, for the first time in probably a long time, SK obviously coming out on top on the CT side on Cobblestone. Did we actually figure that out down to just Na'Vi just being bad on the day? Or did we think, actually, they may finally have figured something out? Or was it just Magic's Boy basically going off on a tangent and stomping everyone?
Yeah, I don't really think they figured anything out specifically. I felt that they played really well individually. I mean, the whole team, Magic Boy probably, the first among equals there, right? And that Na'Vi was probably a bit complacent. They maybe underestimated SK a little bit, if I can find my words. But yeah, the map is T-sided.
Yeah.
Just simply because of the way it works. There's not many places for CTs to get map control. If they go for that A long, then they have a really slow rotation towards B, and it's hard to hold B because of how drop zone is tricky and platform and so on. So I feel that the map is still T-sided. It's just I think that was a one-off, basically the result that we had. And of course, Anders was the one who jinxed it,
He
right?
did jinx it, yeah.
Because he wanted to show the stats with T-side, 100% win rate, and then we get like the most dominant CT side.
It was if you guys missed it, it was a 14-1 CT side, and that just does not happen very often. That's for sure. SK Gaming, dominant stuff in there, and I want to briefly talk about SK Gaming because we were talking about them off air. Briefly on the league table as well. Definitely upsets things. And if you were to look towards Virtus Pro, obviously playing later today, that's 0-4. I mean, this is potentially a threat for Virtus Pro in the league already.
Yeah, and it's a 0-4. Okay, they lost 2 games to Fnatic, which maybe you would say.
Yeah, okay, that you'd expect that maybe.
You're probably going to lose to Fnatic, but they lost 2-0 to FaZe, and FaZe is their direct contender for that maybe 3rd, 4th spot, and so on. Presuming Fnatic and maybe Envious are going to grab those top 2 spots, and it seems like there's a lot of games. There's 22 games, 22 maps you play. But it really isn't that much. You can't allow yourself to think that, okay, we slipped up this one time, or, we still have a lot of games to play, because you just look at any of the previous seasons. There were Virtus Pro didn't manage to qualify for the last
into context for losses. I believe the top 4. I think it's if you have like more than 8 or 9 losses, suddenly you're not going to qualify in that top 4.
I think it was something around.
I think it's even less.
6,
No, I think TSM, which it was obviously TSM back then, Astralis and Fnatic, I think they had like maybe 4 and 6 losses, and then I think the 3rd, 4th spot was like 8 and 9. Yeah. I think there was like a little gap, but it's very close stuff. So 6 apparently Pansy's throwing her hands up and saying 6. Either that, she's got gang signs going on. I don't know what's going on.
And they're already down
4. So basically,
0-4,
they have 18 matches to play, and they can only afford to lose 2 more in 18 matches.
I mean, talking about VP in general, seeing as how they had a bad period coming into this new year, basically it starts having a psychological impact on them as well, right? It's not just the results. It's not just the couple of tournaments you've been failing to progress in. It's that now the doubt starts coming in. What's going on? We've been practicing a lot. Everyone's playing a lot, but we just can't win anything. So that might be a problem for them. I personally believe that they're bigger than that. That they're experienced players who are not influenced by that as much, but time is running out for them slowly.
Exactly, you say time is running out. The real problem is that we are coming into a phase in Counter-Strike where in the build-up within the next 2-3 months there is, I think we were talking about the other day, there's like about 3 or 4 tournaments that are all $200,000. You need to be hitting that peak. This is your job. This is your livelihood. You need to be at your peak. And at the moment, there's some real problems going on there. We've also seen from social media side, obviously, the players clearly affected by it. Obviously, Pasha lashing out a little bit. Very passionate guys, as you would expect. But the problems are already mounting. And talking about problems mounting, let's talk about G2, because obviously they've switched organizations recently. They were obviously ex-Titan. They dropped the organization. Titan dropped everybody, basically. And they moved across to G2. What do we make of these guys? Obviously, they've always been there or thereabouts, but they've always been like a mid-table obscurity for the last couple of months. They've never quite like punched through and got to that top 4, top 2 position.
Yeah, I mean, this team, G2 team, the ex-Titan team, it was one of my favorite, one of the teams I cheered for, that I wanted to succeed. I wanted for them to make it because, as I said, they have a good tactical foundation, mostly because of existence, right? And then his style of in-game leading. But they've always had this problem that, they had a couple of close tournaments, couple of close games, which, cost them the playoff spot and so on. I just feel that throughout last year, similar to maybe what the story was with NIP, that they needed just that one good win, one good result in a tournament to get their confidence going back up as well.
TSM had.
Because people are saying things like Existence has been losing for so long, he forgot how to win. Basically, which is it can be detrimental to your mental fortitude as well. But I feel that they're on an upward swing. They've been showing some good results, taking a map of Fnatic on LAN as well, on Inferno, which Fnatic historically really likes to play. had a decent showing at the game show league as well. So I think for them, it's just keep the grind on and keep practicing.
Yeah, and talking about teams on the upswing, let's talk about Dignitas. They're going to be playing later tonight. A team that definitely has improved a lot lately. They got the top 2 finish recently, obviously lost out to Envy, but they beat Virtus Pro en route. So what do we make of Dignitas? Have they managed to just make that little notch? Are they now like a top 6 team?
Well, at this moment, they're probably around that area.
Yeah.
The thing is, this was the period of their breakthrough. This is when they broke through,
Mm.
right? They had some in Leipzig. Kirby had an amazing tournament, which was something that was lacking from him throughout 2015. The additional config as well, who just seems to be a super confident guy, doesn't have a problem with performing in big matches, although he's a very young player, obviously really skilled. MSL has been on point with his in-game leading, but the problem for them now is that now other people are going to start paying more attention to them, and they're going to start preparing for them more and so on, and they still don't have a deep enough map pool. So they also have a lot of tournaments. They're going to Barcelona, then they're playing the major qualifiers and so on, so they have a packed schedule as well.
What I wonder is, have they punched through that little gap and got up there while everybody else was taking a bit of a break? Is that what it is, or is it just down to raw talent that's got them there? That's what I worry about. Obviously, when you start getting towards that major territory, everybody starts stepping up their game. Can they keep up?
I feel that they have simply improved, and they found a good maybe chemistry. They're in a good spot with this particular 5 players, because they have a good mix of skill, although they're, when you look at that team against the likes of NVS, Fnatic, and so on, they're not as skilled, but they have a good mixture of a tactical background, tactical foundation, so to speak, and then at times they also have great individual performances from their players that carries them through these close matches, basically. But I actually feel that they are, not in the range of Navi and Luminosity and so on when it comes to the strategic aspect of the game, but maybe the step below them, certainly.
Yeah. And obviously the matches they play tonight is Virtus Pro, and it's on Mirage and Overpass. Now, they're both very good maps for Dignitas. Good maps for Virtus Pro, you could argue, as well. But Dignitas, historically, have had the better of them on Mirage in the last couple of months.
Yeah, and most recently at Leipzig, they beat them on Mirage as well. And it was also, they had an 8-0 second half ST.
Yeah.
Meaning Virtus Pro couldn't stop a single round from them. But they have been pretty solid on Mirage. They understand the way the map works, from what I've seen, the way mid control works and so on. Their anti-ecos are pretty good on that map, ST, which is something I was harping about last week. So they tend to group up, which is a good thing. They're not afraid to rush B as well on their anti-eco rounds, which, actually against Mouse at the same tournament, Mouse knew that, so they just anti-stratted them with a couple of nades on B and won an eco round. So they might have to be careful about that. As I said, people are now going to start preparing for them more.
Well, Mouse themselves obviously got themselves a win at the weekend in the ESL Predator Masters. We have Sadicus in the house, so we can tell us more about that if we need to. But I also want to talk about what's just happened over in America. Just touch on it briefly, because it probably happened when both of us were probably asleep and getting ready to go on the plane. But I have had looks at the highlights. I'm talking about Tempo Storm, of course. They qualified for Katowice, which is now 3 weeks away. It's getting closer to us. But what the hell happened there?
I mean,
just look at the results. Cloud9 literally fell apart.
What happened is that hunger and dedication beats everything else. Like, if you really want to win, if you sacrifice, sacrifice is maybe too strong of a word, but if you really commit to practicing hard, being focused, and basically trying as hard as you can, it's gonna show results eventually. And with the great backing of Fallen, who gave them the resources to come over to NA to practice, to be able to also compete with higher skilled opposition and so on. I think that all of those clips he posted, from the games and reactions and so on, it just shows how much how much it means to them. I don't think we see that from other NA teams.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Performance, hunger, dedication, everything you need to win games of Counter-Strike. We'll see how this first one starts off, though. We're going to get our first match underway with Pansy and Sadicus.
Thanks, guys. I think they've covered a lot of topics there, as we were waiting a little while for the players to get in, but finally get to cast with you. How are you feeling about this game?
I feel pretty excited. It's good to be involved in this league, as always. It's kind of the premiership right now in CSGO, and already they've highlighted some of the interesting stories. I think seeing Virtus Pro tonight being a 0-4 team, it's a must-win scenario. They've got to win both.
Right? Kind of dangerous team at the moment, certainly on the upswing, as I think these guys just hammered out to death on the desk while they were sat there waiting, like, what field can we go to? Like, just going deep down in the pages. Just
Yeah, exactly. No,
let's talk about Brazil, guys. It's just like...
Yeah. Did you hear that drama with that taco fella and some simple knife? I don't know what just happened.
Crazy stuff. But at least we can come back to the topic now. It's going to be Cbble between G2 and Fnatic. As you can see, these two teams have a little bit of a curious history in the last 3 months. Not played drastically and not exactly the biggest map for either side. So curious to see how this one plans out between the two of them. And you said you like this map because of the T-side element, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, look, there's a couple different opinions on it right now. Obviously, from teams, it's one thing, but from casters as well. Some say, you know, it's a little bit too static in that if you find an opening pick on B, because there's so much options with the drop, that it's so much ground, therefore, lost on that one single entry kill that it becomes a little bit predictable. But I like that it's a little bit more T-sided. It's created a new element that we've not seen in it throughout the previous iterations, and I kind of like the timings of it. I like that the Ts can actually be the first to be with the right spawn, so it forces the utility to be used correctly on the CT side.
And on that point, looking back at G2, how they played this not too long ago, it's going to come down to Existence and Smiths if they stay to that sort of form on that B side. So actually not maybe the biggest hitters to have to deal with the likes of Olaf piling through Crims as well. But I do believe we are live. If I can get some game sounds, that would be absolutely awesome. And we'll be seeing how these two go down as Fnatic do go for that opening information. But G2 look like they're just going to plow through with those Glocks.
Yeah, it appears that way, but so far, not any kills coming in, just lots of damage and apparently with shots. Finally, RPK will finish off what Shox could not. Nonetheless, it does mean that Flusha can take down Smiths in turn, and it's a trade, so 4 versus 4. Crims as well, back at the site. He's going to go for the aggressive peek rather than sitting and giving up the ground, so they actually want to shut this down. They don't want to allow the bomb plant, and he's managed to get the cannons pretty successfully as well. I've got disco music, which is even more exciting.
It's a party in here right now. Everyone's really excited to see an A hit coming through, so we're deciding to celebrate with music. The bomb's in a really precarious position, though. Dennis has already swung across to try and cover that one off, as he does find Scream. It's kind of left all up in the air here to G2, and I doubt that Shox in his existence, as good as Shox may be with this pistol, can achieve anything here. JW's pretty much out of this one, but he's perfectly fine just sitting back waiting for Shox to show himself, and a little bit of an uphill struggle, to say the least, to begin with here as G2 just get things off to a rocky start. And there we go. Crim's going to shut it down, and to be fair, looking at this one, Fnatic picking up the pistol round is a great start for them, especially on that CT side.
Absolutely, and it was really well done. Again, we kind of touched on it a little bit there. They highlighted that we didn't want that bomb to get planted, so Crims was really smart. Rather than staying passive, he actually sneaks up to where the cannon's position, gets in stables, and there was no way, even when that bomb went down, that we're going to get it anywhere near plant position. So this now means forced by second round. Fnatic, they just don't die to this eco. They've got a bed of 3 rounds to work with off the start. And knowing that it's unlikely there's going to be an early rifle buy, that allows them to go for something slightly more unorthodox. So you've got the 2 SMGs, try and build up some cash, and you can play a little bit more aggressively against these pistols.
Yeah, and I think Olaf just pushed through the smoke that was put down by those doors just by mid and did catch a good bit of a glimpse then as to what was coming his way. So now Screen's going to be edging forward, but he's already adjusted well here. He's got that Mag 7 to hand, so he can just hold that close angle. They've got Flusha pulled across, but I'm hoping they keep in mind the Shox in existence certainly weren't accounted for, and that bomb is yet to really commit by this point. So now Crim's watching up on long. He's got 2 players there, Scream and RPK, possibly about to test this one out. Smith's not too far away either. Then again, quite a slow round coming in for G2. They're not rushing this one. And again, JW going walkabouts. G2 playing it slow, and they get punished. JW walks straight up through the smoke, finds existence, and that's kind of cut off that little bit of attention they wanted to bring over towards B.
Yeah, it's going to be the A split, though. Shox has made it down from drop, but he's spotted immediately. Dennis wins that duel. It's all left to Scream. Another one without a bomb plant, so another perfect round from Fnatic as well. This is exactly... well, that's good to note, actually. Observant, Pansy. I didn't catch that.
Well, without the sounds distracting me, it was really easy to focus in on the screen, right?
So yeah, it's easy to pick up on the subtleties of graphics instead. No, but nonetheless, this is perfect. Now they are building exactly that economy. Like you said, if it is a teammate, that means they got a shotgun kill, 2 kills with MP9s, and they still know that there's nothing G2 can do in this round. Plus, they're not even going to have armor, so the MP9s are even more viable now.
Suddenly gets a lot more painful for these guys, and Olaf just on that real cusp of the smoke if they do push any closer. Consistently doing this. I know Anders gets really flustered by the fact that CT teams find it so hard to gather that information, but Olaf's going to take the little bit of a risk then. We'll fall back, put the smoke down just a touch, and buy a little bit more time. But G2 at this point still have to get past JW, who's pushed up again.
Yep, he's being aggressive with that MP9. I mean, that's the way to play the gun, is it not? This time he's also got Dennis as well, though, behind him. And he's got the slightly more long angle to use the rifle with, but JW finds 3. The trade comes in. It's not going to matter until Dennis goes down. That opens things up slightly. That rifle in that position you'd think would win that duel, so Flusha comes over. Unfortunately, getting that kill. Scream was trapped, but the key word in that was that I've used it as a past tense. Scream has made it out of that trap.
I don't know what we are hearing, because I'm so confused at the moment. Scream did recover the rifle, right? That was the important factor, at least into my eyes. Now he can maybe try and split these two players up, but I doubt Fnatic are going to let him get away with that.
He's up against an MP9 and a shotgun, which means he actually suddenly becomes the lead in the situation because he's already knocked down the first, of which Flusha is going to pretty much have to forfeit that platform to him, and this is smart from Scream.
Playing it safe. I like that. He's not just going to plow in, even though, you know, as you noted, had the advantage of weaponry. He could probably assume as such to a smaller degree, but then he's still taking his time on this one. Now, Flusha's going to be asking questions. He's going to be thinking, okay, where has this guy gone? I've not heard footsteps. I've not heard the plant. Where the hell has Scream got to? Doubt he heard him getting to drop then, so Scream's got a good chance to at least get the bomb plant here, but Flusha's going to start wondering things as to what's going on, right?
Absolutely. 8 seconds. He's got all kinds of time to plan it. Not a big worry at all. Took his time accordingly, cleared out the angles, but now Flusha's got to try and find a way back in the side. Scream spots him, but pulls the knife at the wrong time as he jumps in toward the alley. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't have armor, which means the closer Flusha gets, the more deadly he becomes, and that's exactly what happens. And thankfully, Flusha will recover the round for his team. It's not the end of the world that they did lose those SMGs and the shotgun. They were going to upgrade in the next round regardless, but it's a decent round in terms of G2 farming up some cash and getting a bomb plant down so they can get some utility in the next round.
Really important stuff, and they could be looking towards an AWP, possibly. I don't know. I think we've got the pause coming in, actually, as I think someone just dropped out. But yeah, I like that from G2. A little bit slower play, punishing the fact that they knew Cbble was probably going to run up at them. They know they probably kept those SMGs because why not? G2 were going to be very obviously without armor into that one, at very least without head armor. So nicely done overall from G2, just punishing a little bit of Fnatic's kind of confidence. And this is something Yanko said, that if you don't get Fnatic's kind of respect, the very basics in that sort of aspect, they're going to run all over you. So at least, you know, keeping on a one-to-one basis individually is a good start, at least for Scream there.
I actually think that was really clever to go back to that B side as well.
I like that.
He knew he forced at least one of the rotations. It was pretty likely in that situation as well, where they don't have the most ideal weaponry, that they were going to stick together too. So decent start. One of the things you've already touched on as well is that sort of that smoke position with Olaf. He's very confident at using smokes on this map, both T side and CT. You watch him. He's one of the guys that used to be when this current iteration of the map came in, because it's very hard to fake sites because they're so far apart. You have to do it with a one single lurk, and then you effectively hit the other site with 4. The other guy can't get there. He's strictly just farming kills up at that point or catching off rotations. He's very good at actually dropping out of smoke at lower mid on the A side and still getting back in the hallways. The way he throws it, he can still get in the hallways and actually join in on the execution and still have a 5-man execution on the A side, or on the B side rather. So he's quite clever in the way that he uses utility throughout the entire map. He's actually one of the guys you could actually watch demos of and model off of strictly without even seeing enemies, and just how he uses, you know, that extra little bit of.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because people underestimate how much kind of technical side there is to Olaf as well. People see him this big aim god, which he is by all rights. This guy can aim like an absolute hero, but he certainly has the kind of technical ability as well, just around the back of it, that he can just supplement it so well. And already coming into the 4th round, if this stays the way it is, we've got double AWP already for Fnatic. A single coming out for G2, that's not too surprising, but investing straight into the double AWP here, that's pretty hefty.
Yep, that's pretty aggressive. But again, that was the MP9s building up money. JW specifically had one round with 3 kills with it last time we saw that. So he picked up a significant amount of change. Unfortunately, Scream opening up onto Olaf, though, starts to look good for G2. They've gone for the boost over on B, and Crim's is going to have to solo on that A site. And right now, there's no commitment from G2 and exactly what their intentions are. They're still just trying to evaluate this. They've got that, again, with this extra bit of time now on the rounds. You could afford to sit back after that first pick, and you have a little bit longer to figure out exactly how the defense reacts.
It looks like Existence is trying to keep as many people from Fnatic over towards that B side as possible, but while that happens, G2 is starting to stack up here, and Crim's dedicated himself to long. He switched up to picking up the AWP as well that was just dropped off of Olaf, so he's going to have to deal with a hell of a lot of players and hopefully buy a fair bit of time here, because these guys are setting up, ready to go. Fnatic yet to even consider rotating those 3 players off of B, so this is going to be a lot of weight on Crim's shoulders here.
It's a ton of weight. Absolutely. He's going to spot them any second. Oh, they're just a step further. He would have caught them with nades out for utility. Good shot nonetheless, but he's got to run. Absolutely abandoned. This is aggressive. This is actually confident. Flusha, Dennis already rotating in, so he can now afford to sit here, but there's no escape. It's do or die right now. For Crim's missed shot, they can spray into it. Flusha going to find RPK, though. That keeps him alive slightly longer, but in the end, he was only going to perish as Exist did walk out 3 versus 3, and Smoke Soft does mean they should be able to cross at least towards where Flush is playing, but more importantly, they've rotated Dennis onto the site, which now drops the bomb.
Smiths was lost then after Crims went down, suddenly opportunity struck, but as said, one man lurking on that side. Dennis just held him up completely. Now Shox is trying to build something out of this, has no utility to work with. That route is not an option, and JW shuts it down. And Fnatic with a hefty investment, and it pays off. They keep both of those AWPs into play. No plan to be seen, and G2 left scratching their heads again.
Absolutely, and this is going to put them again. They're just with that last... Yeah, I'm interested. Okay, Tech9 is going to be the call. I was going to say just on the edge of being able to force in with rifles, because they will have a 5-round. If they lose, it's still a 5-round loss round bonus going for them, but no bomb plant in the last round. They elect to stick with the Tech9s. P250 for Scream. And interesting as well, we saw Olaf, he's been doing it again here, getting aggressive, but playing on this A side. Normally the platform is something that he kind of coined the way he just kind of created that play style. But the pistols, again, I have to say G2 are finding these opening picks, and Fnatic's aggression is going to have to be calculated going forward. Existence nearly coming out, drop and catching off Dennis. That would have opened up everything for a split on the A site.
And already JW shuts down Shox, who was trying to pull some player towards that B area, but already Screaming RPK going to be left with it all to do. They have recovered rifles to each of them, but one being an AWP, not exactly the highlight play for either these two, but RPK is going to kind of put that weight onto his shoulders and have to try and find maybe something towards JW, who is just lurking down by the bottom of that plateau as Scream edging closer as well. No one actually in drop playing actively. Now JW might have just had an inkling as to what's going his way. Nice pop flash over the back, but RPK does not hit the shot. Scream's going to have to pick up the slack. He just leaps out, gets down JW. We're into 2v2, and that UMP suddenly not looking so ideal here.
Absolutely not. And that's bought strictly to penetrate armor. That's the whole point of this in this round. But now that rifles are up, it becomes, like you're saying, significantly less viable. Scream goes for a little boost on the tree, the reverse side, which is becoming more and more common to get information. But as soon as he spotted Dennis, they actually shuffled back over to the other side, and that took away any advantage that might have been gained. 5-0 full lost round bonus and tons of cash. I'm interested to see how they approach this round. Now, again, Fnatic, they've gone aggressive a number of times. They've got to slow that down. They've got to be a little bit more careful about it, because there's a benefit to it in that if you set that tempo early, you force G2 to sit back and wait for it, which means you effectively, just by putting the aggression in their minds, buy some more time and space, which drags the round out a little bit longer. It means you can save your utilities a little bit longer. But at the same time, if you continue to do it too often, they will catch off and get the early pick a number of rounds in a row. So, gotta be really careful on that note.
Yeah. It's always the theory of, you know, if you keep doing the same smoke or nade, people then kind of keep it in mind, and maybe then down the line you don't even have to use it. It has that knock-on effect. So several things in play here, but already G2 starting to pile up over by A. Only Shox there by that B side of things. And now Olaf and Crims, as you noted, not being as aggressive this time. Olaf just holding a touch further back here, but Crims is also on long. So these guys not exactly abandoning this, certainly not playing from sight, at least looking for that first contact and then maybe backing if they have that opportunity. But now JW's found Shox. It means that maybe they're wondering where the hell the rest of the players are. Now the flashes did not work at all. RPK's found Olaf. That's going to open up the chances here, but G2 need to make that play to the site count.
And that's absolutely the fact, as Crims is going to burrow his way back. This passive play does mean there's a better chance to get a bomb down, but once again, really swift and quick rotations from Fnatic. So they've got Flusha on the site. He's going to get one at least, but Crims goes down. Now the chance for G2 to push has to be capitalized on, and Flusha gets caught by Smiths. This has to be the round. This absolutely needs to be G2's round. They've got to close it. Bomb goes down. Now keep in mind, they can't pursue. If JW wants to, he can do some massive economic damage, because this is going to cause a reset. They need to keep 3 alive for the sake of efficiency.
JW already killed Shox, so they know exactly where he was playing. There's such a unlikely chance he's gone on the full rotate. Even though Scream is trying to keep that in mind, he is already watching that A-long push-up just in case. But now time's starting to tick down. I think they know that this one is all but done. JW's still desperate to pick up a little bit of something on the way out of this, but I hope for G2's sake they don't give too much away on this. And he's going to start hearing footsteps. I'm curious if they're going to actually go past on this one. They are going to at least check. No, they're not going to go down there. JW should be able to easily get away from this.
And he's got full HP, so as soon as that bomb detonates, he actually goes for the face. That's actually smart, because he knows full well they can't chase him, but if he can get even 1 kill, it would change the complexion of the next round on how G2 goes about it. They'll, with, again, keeping 3 up, be able to buy into full AKs. But again, this resets both teams. So this round defines basically the next 2, because both teams facing a potential save after losing this one. And still, Flusha going to be left with that UMP as a result of it as well.
To be fair, he's been on that for a long time. Like, it's kind of working. I'm not going to doubt it until it starts working dramatically, but again, the one thing I'm going to be looking at is seeing where those Molotovs went from G2, nowhere in particular at this point, and Shox is going to be called off again. JW is doing this consistently. Smiths can't get the trade out at all. Nothing is working for G2 on these instant kind of opening frags, and Crims is on the verge of this smoke. Turns a flash easily on that one, but no one pushes through it.
And Crims is desperately dancing on the edge of danger right now with that smoke still there, but now the question is, did Scream hurt him scope in there? Because he is close enough that he could have. I was going to say, but does anyone counter onto this instead, though? Is that gun going to get spotted? Not quite. Perfect timing for Scream. Thanks for the gift, Crims. The knife doesn't quite do much from that range, I'm afraid.
And again, JW sticking it out here. He could be in trouble. They're going to face together. He can't get out of that one now. Dennis is going to have to try and keep it together at the seams, but Existence, great work from him. Going to find the real openers to this side. Now it's down to Olaf and Flusher. You got Scream behind them. So where did G2 take this? They've got, what, 48 seconds here. A UMP with Flusher. Olaf pretty well set as well, but no utility left for Fnatic.
And 48 seconds sounds like a lot, but on this map, it's actually... the threshold between deciding is about the 30-second mark because of how far the rotation really is without utilizing drop. Fortunately, Scream, on that note, already looking into A. He's pushed up long, hasn't spotted anyone just yet. He hasn't cleared the back of sight, so they still have something to deal with, but the bomb is going to come over and follow in, and they should be able to get, as long as they take down Olaf in for free. He's spotted, he's taken care of. They just need to get RPK in position to plant, and as he does that, if they could just lock out the two remaining CTs, it would have worked out, but Scream doesn't stay facing. Olaf takes him down, and then Flush has already pushed forward. They needed to cover off that choke point way better than that.
I'm really surprised they got away with that, to be fair, Fnatic. And I don't know why G2 let them get that sort of kind of freedom to play into it. Flusher just barreled out, don't get me wrong, but then Olaf having the opportunity to get into that situation, the one player, you don't want to be like that. Now, I kind of understand the slight hesitation coming out from Scream towards that side because, all right, Olaf has been here throughout the vast majority of these rounds, but by that point you think maybe they've just gone for a bit of a cleaner hit on that. But again, being punished, Fnatic looking pretty strong here on the CT side, bearing in mind, normally this favors a little bit towards the T side, but at the moment, G2 not feeling that sort of comfort, I guess.
The good news is with the bomb and the three staying alive in the previous round, so again, just going back to that efficiency and understanding the reset, means they do get at least one more buy into this. But Fnatic also staying fairly aggressive. They're going to try and push forward. Team kill. Existence negates the initial trade that went Shox's favor. RPK is going to get back into Crims, but that leaves it at 3. Now, the 3 early on actually does favor G2 significantly. They now need to slow this down and try and figure out exactly what the CTs are up to, because if they just kept marching forward, JW's already back into the A site.
Reminding ourselves, G2 do have the full armor this time. Normally, it seems that G2, when they're just on the pistols, they do so well for some reason. I don't get how Scream with the P250 or whoever it is with the Tech 9s coming out always seems to pay off. But now, as you said, they've got to find the right situation to play this into. Can they find the right bomb site? One contains a wild JW just chilling out with the AWP. The other has Flusher and Dennis. So I guess pick your poison at this point. JW is just playing by drop. He can play it fairly passive from here as long as he doesn't get pressured at the same time. Wait for some sort of backup. He's going to smoke out, show his presence, and actually the double smoke going to come through from both sides. Nade's going to follow, but Smiths needs to get this pinch perfect as now Dennis has joined over as well.
The passive inside the site, though. JW is the biggest threat. That was the only way they could have stopped that bomb from crossing over. Good response from RPK, but there's no utility, just a single nade on RPK, so they can't cross for free. He's got to be a little bit careful. That means Smiths needs to get in an angle where he can compensate. He can hold it. That's exactly what happens. RPK goes out. Smiths comes into the picture. RPK himself actually got the kill, so well done by him. The nade, though, is it going to be enough? Just barely gets the bomb down. So well done from Flusher to at least get the kill, but it doesn't deny the plant. And Smiths can now use the time in his favor, and better still, he used the AK to its range.
And again, the UMP not quite doing it for Flusher that time. And to be fair, G2 finally doing a little bit more damage. But as I said, it only seems to be kind of off the back of being so aggressive, pressuring down Olaf if he gets a little bit, overzealous pushing through by A side. But then again, G2 just being just off the marker thus far. But then again, this is a nice round for them. They should be able to pad this out, get onto 6-3. They have full utility. There should be absolutely no reason to get caught off. Fnatic aren't stacking out. They're doing the standard 3-2 split. Nothing changes apart from maybe a little bit of a double presence on long, but already JW's found Shox, and it's a recovered gun. Maybe not a rifle, but could do a little more damage. As surely G2 have got to be careful on this.
Absolutely. Crims pushing forward. I'm still waiting, by the way, for JW to bring that trademark shotgun out and drop. But there it is. Existence taking down Crims, starts to open things up, but the initial stack on B, they got information early on from that, so they've actually all rotated over. They need to be very careful now, because keep in mind, JW still has that MAC-10. Okay, well, had that MAC-10, which could have been fairly lethal at close quarters range, but actually going to commit to this. Look at the stack in the back of the site, though. Neither of them are facing yet, and Olaf's actually not even going to be spotted. Smith, that's a full sense of security if you'll ever see one. Where's the trade? Dennis is actually going to wait. They just want to stop the bomb plant. Smith's going to spot him. Nonetheless, headshot comes in from the P250, and they try and establish the crossfire, but Scream holds on.
And if there was like one Deagle in play, one more slight investment, that could have been pretty deadly for G2. They were all below 50, I think, in that round, so that could have gone pretty painful. But still, as said, G2 do convert that into a round win, which is what they were desperately looking for. Those mollies do eventually pay off, even though I did get a little bit hairy towards that side. JW going in on pretty much the glass cannon here. And Flusher, has he actually bought a normal rifle, or has it just been the UMP the entire time? I need to try and think back. I'm actually not too sure at this point. But then again, this should be another one for G2 in theory. But then again, Dennis, JW have been holding them up, and JW's in the right place if they go for this full-on hit here, as is Dennis. As is now Olaf. That's a 4-play stack from Fnatic, about to greet G2 at the door.
And they go. Spotted already, though. JW in the corner, down smoke off in the alleyway. A thrown bomb to RPK so he can get across. There's a lack of a single smoke, though, on that initial choke point. RPK's got one should he want to. Instead, they're going to go for the boost. Flash goes out, and if he goes for the cross and Smith doesn't find a kill, he could get dropped here without getting the bomb in position. Thankfully, there's lots of opportunity and time still to work with despite being down a man. And you almost want to call out Flush at this point for continuing to use it, but in this particular round, it is actually all he could afford, so.
Yeah, this one's completely warranted, and to be fair, he's already got a kill with it. Now, Olaf's created that room to breathe around the back. Gonna go on the flank, find Scream. Now, it's just RPK. He's kind of stuck on the side, but he does create a brilliant opportunity by taking down Olaf, but gets a little tagged up on the side there, and Flusher again coming in. Crims closes down the deal, and you're gonna get the defuse. And considering this was a really shamble kind of base buy, it was really not perfect from Fnatic. To be able to pick it up, 2-player standing, get 2 rifles out of it. Even keep the AWP out of it and upgrade to the AK. They're going to be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of called it. The Olaf coming down from long, it just created so much space because RPK had to turn his attention there. As soon as he did that, the 2 players at the front of the side knew they had the entry point. I would have liked to see RPK after killing Olaf just try and run. Get somewhere into cover that forces them to have to walk. I mean, he's in a position where if he gets in behind that tree plant, they would have had about 5-6 more seconds it would have taken them just to spot him again and win that duel, which it's all about time when the bomb's down. But as you say, very good for Fnatic to win that sort of quasi situation, that force buy, and it leaves Shocks on just the Tech 9. There's no AWP for Smiths in this particular round. Nonetheless, they're going to go all 5 out from long. No one even pushing into drop, and there's a double drop defense set up with a passive long hold, so this actually could work out.
It could if Dennis doesn't deliver, but he already does get down 1 at least. But it's straight out. Scream and Smith's having none of it and just going to try and burst into towards the site. And RPK just going way too far ahead. That bomb left on the most unideal position in the world is just a little bit too open to get that cheeky little plant down. Now it's just Scream. 1v3. He's pulled off rounds like this before, don't get me wrong. But then again, there's a lot of utility still with Fnatic. They still have the 2 kits. He does have a minute, but this might be just out of reach.
Yeah, I dare say so. Flush it. Again, UMP, apparently the king of it because he is 12-3. Should be noted.
Why doubt it when it works, right?
If it ain't broken. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm broken or not, but we'll think about fixing that later.
I don't think there is any fixing you, let's be honest.
It's true. Henry's been trying for about a year.
I think you just broke Henry.
Oh, Flush has found Scream. Headshot as well. That's more money, and he's, okay, finally going to grab an AK. Maybe that's what he wanted all along. He just hates the M4 that much.
I'm just trying to look into how often he's been using UMP, and it's really not that regular. I was like hoping it'd be like this secret thing we've uncovered, but no, just apparently sticking with it a hell of a lot. Like, what, in the last 3 months, only got 15 kills with it prior to now, of course. So, you know, maybe it's just a now time thing.
Total.
Yeah, just for the crack of it. Exactly. Why not? You know, why not farm it up? Just try and go for those, you know, crazy stats across the board. But still, into this one, G2 with absolutely minimal amounts to work with. Bearing in mind, they've actually done pretty well when they've had these rounds. This time, Olaf not going to have anything that they're trying to sell. Smiths and RPK already get found, and Shock, Scream, and Existence kind of left in with nothing really to achieve out of this. Not a flash to hand, not any way to get a gun out. Maybe they could get a bit of a, you know, maybe a dome out of Shocks, just getting the Deagle on, but he's having a quiet game, and it looks like, well, Scream's at least going to get 1 down and keep the gun to hand.
Good trade, though, from Crims immediately to catch Scream, so even though Shocks is now lurking far away on the B site, it's not going to make a difference. We got some time here, Pansy. We can discuss that Taco Simple situation, because Shocks just has a Deagle, and it's just going to give the round to Fnatic, I'm afraid.
How can you win when you discuss these situations? It's like, do you want to get the Brazilian fans like hating you right now?
I
like,
love BR. They know that.
To be fair, it is like an incredible army out of nowhere that's just appeared. It's like you tweet one good thing about VR and then they suddenly all flock to it. It's great.
Cold's like my favorite player right now, so he's a bro.
It's all about Fallen, man.
Fallen is
He's
Big
like
Daddy Fallen.
It's like
I'll
the
agree.
god savior of CS:GO at the moment. It's amazing.
It's true. And there's going to be 2 Brazilian teams and no North American teams in
That's
Katowice.
ridiculous, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well done. What's funny is I've talked to a few people who have a feeling that we could have the first North American major and no North American teams. Could you imagine if that happens?
Finally, Moses' bitterness for after all the years pays off, and he can maybe support a North American team, kind of. Who knows? Oh, bless. I do feel for Moses, bless him. He sits there, and it's like sometimes he'll get like a dash of hope. He's told himself to stop getting it normally during these events, but you see it creep back in. It's like
I mean, if he
when
learned to give
Liquids
up on
do
NA
well.
sooner, he might have kept his hair for longer. So
Ow! To be fair, I didn't recognize him when I saw pictures of him with hair, and I was...
the ironic part is that his brother's in-game name was Hair.
How did I not know that? Like, the mockery of Moses has been a consistent factor of my life for the last couple of months, but... Alright, Smith's gonna just ignore the fact that Flusher was close by and people were shooting in there. Well, Flusher with his UMP is disgusting, may I add. I haven't seen anyone do this in drop to this extent, because normally I'm used to imagining JW there. He normally sits there in drop. He's orked drop before.
Clever boost, really clever boost from Olaf late in the round to do it as well. So just trying to seek out a little bit of information, gets a kill for it. Flusha taking down Shocks, and it's all on Scream this time, 1 versus 4. Perhaps his chance is slightly better than that of Shocks in the previous round because he has armor and an AK, which gives him 1 extra kill. But it still doesn't do much, Pansy. I was being hopeful, it didn't
You
work.
dreamed. That's what you get for dreaming and having hope. Shocks is having a bit of an absolute mare, to be fair. He's got 2 kills so far. Considering everyone looks at Shocks like, when's he going to find that Shocks form? When's he going to be back? And it's not this game so far. Scream's been the one certainly at the forefront for G2 for quite some time at the moment. And I'm hoping we get to see a couple more of these players finding that form. Maybe not in this game. I think Fnatic's just kind of laid the smackdown as Dennis has already got out the auto sniper. So, I don't know. It's not looking good for G2 so far.
Not at all. Dennis just gonna tap away. Just tap it in as he takes down RPK. Please tell me you got the Happy Gilmore reference. Thank you. That makes my day so much better. Existence with the nade gonna get Dennis. And with the bomb down, at least there's some hope here with the man advantage as well. But keep in mind with Shocks and Smiths on low HP, they're gonna have to be very careful. Make that even worse. That dink came in, I think it was just through the edge of the windowsill. And just like that, a flurry of frags. 3 for Fnatic leaves Smiths in a world of trouble with 16 HP to do it. He's gonna try and be clever about it. It's really his only chance to do so, and he nearly gets away from the second player, but JW wins it nonetheless, and it's gonna go to 11-3.
I genuinely thought it was a teammate who hit Shocks then as well. Like, it seemed to come from a really weird angle, because another guy's kind of pushing through by the door were even looking at window. I don't know.
That's kind of weird. I just assumed
I'd
it
be
was
so
through
mad.
UNSO, but yeah,
I'd be so mad if I was Shocks. He kind of like flinched to look at it, so who knows. But that aside, it's 11-3 Fnatic on the CT side here. T-side or not, G2 are not having the performance they really need to bring this one out. Then again, you know, map 2 may go better, but then it's Inferno and it's Fnatic, so maybe not. Not going to be a simple one this time for G2. The previous performance may have been a bit of a shining beacon of light for them, but this is certainly a darker moment as the studio is making weird noises again. Do you want to make a highlight of that,
I was going to
guys?
say, you're going to make it the highlight clip again.
That was great. Whoever cut that one, thank you.
You should feel really good, though, because you're such a good caster that when you talk about things outside the game, it
sounds
still
great.
makes the highlight
I think it was
clip.
actually Anders, though, before you made that noise by, like, dropping half the food around the table and moving the chairs.
Probably true.
Yeah, but anyway, back into the round. Dennis has already found Shock, so this is not the perfect start coming out for G2 as they're losing out on these trades, and Crims and JW actually switching up here. So a little bit of a mid-switch up, and JW taking the op to long has already caught Smiths off, and G2 left reeling with only 3.
Crims is on a forward stance at bottom middle, but he may not have much more work to do because JW's finding the picks out toward long instead. RPK, he's going to get Crims, so he's definitely got no more work to do. His Existence, meanwhile, has lurked into drop. That's their best hope. If he can manage to get into this situation, as RPK again, I have to say RPK's accuracy tonight has been excellent, and there's a highlight of it again as he takes down JW. I thought the best chance was for him to sit, wait, and allow the lurk to become viable, but instead he's just going to man up and do it all himself. 3 kills, he'll need the ace, and now he's got 4, another headshot as well. And it's working out quite decently here, and RPK with the headshot. What was that ridiculous ace?
Where was that guy throughout the entirety of the other rounds? He just looked at Scream like, hey, Scream, do you know what you're known for? Let me just show you how I can do it as well. That's
3 of those were 1 taps. Tank is back. Let's do it. The year of tank 2016.
Someone just send that to Vendetta as well, because he'll sit there and be so happy about things. Seeing RPK doing this sort of stuff just makes Vendetta a very happy boy. Or anyone who used to enjoy watching RPK back many a moon ago, have a little bit of a grin on their face after seeing that. It's always nice to have a little bit of a rekindle of what that guy could achieve. What an absolute monstrous play. But at 11-4, he's certainly scraping the barrel at keeping hope alive for G2. And Fnatic not in the most perfect of positions.
Well, we're going to see 5 sets of armor onto Fnatic, so no utility. They're looking to man up at this point in time and rush the site as quickly as they dare. Existence, meanwhile, for the CTs will be that utility player, but it's not with a kit. It's with a smoke and a flash, so they're going to try and shut down said rush, not play the retake game. And the goal is to deny the bomb plant for G2, and naturally so, because that means giving Fnatic less of an early chance to buy guns, which means giving them a bit more of a chance to claw back into the game. Smith's going to take down Olaf. That's a start with the USB silenced, and that'll slow Fnatic again just a little bit more.
And G2 have switched things up since the times they played against COG not too long ago, and a couple of the other American teams in their most recent games on Cbble. They've got different players playing different spots, so maybe switching up for this one. Smiths and RPK going to be the A players. Last time it was Scream and Shock's actually sitting over on that side, so looking for maybe an adjustment here, and already Smith's proving he can keep up with this, at least fending off that long play from JW coming through. But Fnatic, while this happens, they're looking to B.
Shocks is going to be up on top of that platform. He's peeking though, and he's actually spotted slightly. His shoulder's sticking out. That's a bit of a miss. It's a bit of a blunder, because Flusha takes advantage. He'll now run in, and you don't want to mess with these guys when you give them the site to work with. Especially, as I said, the goal with Armor was strictly to get in and get a fast plant. They've done that, but Smiths gets Crims. JW finds him in turn, and there was absolutely no chance for a retake because, well, they dead on arrival, I think I would say.
And Shocks is having a real bad game. Considering this guy normally pistol-wise is great. He's always had a big impact in those rounds. Right now, not even turning up. And it's a real shame to see, because considering he's been kind of put towards this sort of spot, you got to hope that he's going to pick up. And you want to see JW with that shotgun. That's what you get. And I can imagine he's just going to fly down to drop. And RPK normally sits there. He's going to have a horrible task to face in a couple of seconds, as just on that verge, it is going to be JW, and he will fly down this. Do not get me wrong. He'll be down there in a blink of an eye. Actually, no, tell a lie. RPK takes the fight and he wins it.
RPK's had some decent moments, it has to be said. That's another big impact kill, because JW was just trying to hold the angle with the P250, and then, as you mentioned, he was just going to rush it. All right. Good news is Olaf's now got said shotgun, so we might still get some fun from it.
The Kraken can be unleashed in anyone's hands at this point. Then again, it's going to be Existence holding back on the platform of B. Fnatic looking for other opportunities now. Going to have to slow down a little bit more cautious, because they don't have that much utility to clear corners in any way, shape, or form. Maybe excluding Dennis, because he does have at least a grenade in that sort of aspect. But then again, G2 are just sitting in these corners, very passive, saying, all right, you guys want to take these sides, come to us. You know, try and get all these corners checked off. And there you go. They found Scream already, so not exactly the best of starts. And Dennis has found Smith, so suddenly the door to A is looking more and more likely, as Olaf is waiting to leap down the back and get around the backsides of Existence and RPK. But while that happens, Fnatic are building onto the site.
Absolutely. And the first shot from RPK again, though, is going to be a headshot. Flusha going down this time. And Shocks is going to take Crims. That drops the bomb temporarily. 30 seconds, it's not the end of the world. And Dennis picking up the kill on Shocks means that it probably won't be a problem at all. More so in the fact that RPK has a single sliver, 1 HP.
Oh, I started to believe. I had slim faith, but it was there, and it got ruined by the shotgun again.
I mean, I'm not doubting RPK in any situation anymore, ever.
No, the guy is really delivering. To be fair, this is a really nice performance from him. It's not quite reciprocated by the rest of G2 at the moment, but JW back on the shotgun as well. He had enough to buy a rifle, I'm pretty sure. So he's actually chosen to go for this one, kind of coupling that in with the molly there, the flash as well. So hopefully, for their sakes, no one's going to be trying to challenge that one down. It does seem as though they're trying to negate the drop room, but while that happens, Olaf's just plowed through, found Shocks, and now it's time for the rifles to come onto the side. Flashes straight there. Existence and RPK left reeling off the back of Fnatic's just unbridled aggression, and there it is. The Kraken has been unleashed, and RPK, sadly, this time falls, and Smiths gets pinned to the wall.
I love it. I love that gun.
It's dirty, but it works.
Look, the right angle, there's another situation where it used to work, was the HUD on Nuke, and Hiko wasn't that particular shotgun, but would still just get up above it.
And MBK as well would just sit right up there.
In the right circumstances, it is extremely viable, and we've seen it Mag 7 multiple times come out in force fire situations that have dictated rounds, but we've got double op and a not in terms of one specific team, just two in general. It's Smiths and it's Olaf, and we have some mismatched sound again, but that's okay.
It's just confusing. It keeps us on our toes, you know? Just keeps us on our toes. So, a 4-to-1 stack this time, actually. G2 putting 4 players over by B. Existence and RPK not completely dedicated towards the site, but they are going to go for that boost up, and look who's waiting on the other side. The man you do not want to face right now, and if that flash hits one of them, they know that fire's going to be coming from somewhere, but Existence somehow gets away with that. JW does go down, and now Fnatic are with 4, but then again, they are not at this B site. There were 3 players that were considering long. Smiths is there now. RPK is going to fall back. This is a good start from G2. I like a touch of aggression from the CT side at the early point in these rounds.
They had 4 smokes at the start of this Fnatic. They've already used 2 and still not really gained much ground onto this A site. Which means they can try and cover 1 at door, best case scenario, and then maybe at the front of the van so they can cross in, and they are going to be thrown from long. So Crim's setting that up now. Meanwhile, they've gotten in a close angle, and Smiths with that early shot makes things even worse because that was 1 set smoke. Either way, Smiths is going to get Dennis on arrival, and now it's all left to Crim's. Very well shut down and executed so far from G2. Not done just yet, but Scream will hold it together. That was good. That was great. I mean, they didn't, again, Fnatic did not have enough information trying to go in on that, and they baited out a decent amount of utility on G2's side, so I like the forward stance. I like the aggression. They knew that Fnatic was going to left to try and force the issue, and rather than let them do so, they take the fight instead.
Yeah. I like the balls coming out from G2 as well, just to boost up right then. They didn't really know exactly how forward Fnatic were, but they took the time in it, and, you know, Smith's a little bit risky coming up that close. He could have easily been overpowered in that position, but got the job done, and now we're going to be seeing Fnatic kind of maybe having to take stock of this, going, okay, we're still in 14 rounds, but okay, let's you know, make sure we're not losing out on, you know, careless rounds at this point. G2 is starting to look a little bit more rehearsed here on the CT side, considering this is the least favorable side. In theory, this is quite impressive from them so far to really start maybe getting to grips with this one, slowing it down, but then again, Fnatic haven't been doing their full kind of plays here. We haven't seen that brute force B play on full buys just yet. And again, going to be just looking down towards drop. Boost on the site as well coming out from G2. So they're waiting for that platform play to come out.
That's the goal. Interestingly right now as well, there's a position from Scream on the site. They've got the boost for shocks. Spot through the legs of the statue. Probably one of the prettiest set of legs to look through in this entire game, if I'm honest.
Is there any other statues?
No.
No.
No, probably not. There are other statues, but none with legs. There's the one at the courtyard in this map as well.
I need to think about legs. Oh, they are quite nice calves, actually, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
You're not wrong. But while we talk about legs, it looks like Fnatic have decided they are actually going to go for the play. The smoke comes down, but it's going to be Shocks waiting ever so patiently. He gets found out pretty swiftly by Olaf, and now JW kind of flicks the switch, and we're going to see Fnatic once again just plow through the site, and it looks as though really G2 have no answer to this so far.
So, to speak of, in the AWP with Smiths is locked out toward the courtyard as well, or rather, excuse me, the connector as well, so not much of an opening. No one going to face from Fnatic. There's no need to. And having 3 rounds in succession and 1 going the other way, it's going to have a small reset in the money, so they could chase down RPK right now if they elect to. At the same time, their money's not perfect, so it might not be in their best interest, and I think that's exactly going to be the case. Olaf's got himself in the best position to chase because he's actually going to beat RPK to where he's looking to intend to save out toward long, so that lurk could work. And actually, having that position, they are going to start to pursue it because they know they can at least trade this, but a little bit early from Dennis. Nonetheless, flushes there, and RPK does go down, so that has big dividends in terms of the money.
Yeah, really playing through on that one now. 15-5, G2 on the verge, and there was a touch of a stutter then. I wonder what that means, and what the heck?
Whoa!
Have we been drinking again? Just
speak for yourself.
Sorry, yeah, you are completely sober, right? You'd never drunk in your life.
I feel bad for the guy that was beside me on the plane today.
Can we just follow JW, please?
Yeah,
actually,
we should. I want JW. I want mad sick MLG 360 no scopes while he's
at a
sideways.
20-degree angle. It's amazing. He's gone like the step beyond, but still, G2 down to 4 here, and they are just on the pistols.
Yeah, absolutely. So, not the best first map for G2. Remember, each map counts individually. It's a doubleheader in the fact that it's not a best of 2. Did that make sense? I hope so, because that's what I meant. Flush at top of the ramp. Gonna take down Scream. Leaves it 2 or 3 versus 3. So despite that it was just the pistols, G2 did actually get a good opening start to this. Shocks with the 1M4. He's also going to try and play a favorable angle, but he takes an aggressive peek early, and that drops him down. RPK to follow, and now it's all on Existence, who is going to cease to exist any second, I'm sure, Lauren.
God, that pun was wonderful. I've never heard that before. And
Henry's nice to me about my bad puns.
Henry's actually a kind person. I'm not sure if I can keep that up when I'm just casting me these days. We'll see how it goes. The tag has come out. Existence is fighting for his existence into this round.
Oh,
And Dennis
you got
has
one in
enough.
there too.
It was really badly placed, but there we go. Fnatic do pick up the victory, at least in map 1. Really not the best starts here for G2. Looking a little bit shaky all about, and a weird kind of swing up from who's been playing well, considering it was RPK really hitting some crazy stuff throughout that entire game. But where was Shox?
Shox, that was one of the worst performances I've seen. I mean, this is a guy that everyone puts in like the top 5 individually skilled players. And yeah, okay, it's never worked out on various rosters. Obviously, the whole envious thing. Yeah, there's been, but usually the issue's not with his skill; it's with his cohesion with teammates. That was like impressively quiet from Shox, and I'm a little bit curious to see what YNK and D-Man would have to say about it.
Well, on that note, let's find out.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. And yes, it was very much a missing performance from Shox throughout that one. He was, I think he finally got his first kill on around about the 8th or 9th round, and then got team killed by Smith. Like this very same instant. So he just didn't have any luck at all that match.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for G2 fans, but the thing is, as I said in the pregame, your players need to be on point individually in order to have a chance against Fnatic. I'm not saying that they would have beaten Fnatic if Shox had a great game, but you know, it would have been probably closer. But without, you know, it was basically only RPK and Scream putting some numbers in that game, and I think it's good to show that, like the values of a player like Scream, because sometimes people were, you know, saying he's not a complete player, he's inconsistent and so on. But playing against teams like Fnatic, you need to have strong aimers, strong mechanical players. You saw a couple of times he got, even with pistols, he got a couple of crazy kills.
Scream in round 3 was he had that one-on-one with Flusher, didn't he? That's where it could have been very different. That little one-on-one. But he like triple peaked instead of just like, he got the bomb down already, so he could have just backed away, just played it defensively, but he triple peaked and Flusher caught him.
I mean, hindsight is always 20/20.
Of course.
Sometimes a player just has a feeling. He got a couple of good kills, a couple of good headshots with the pistol. Maybe he thought, yeah, I'm gonna get another headshot. I'm just gonna win this round. But you could see in the way Fnatic played, generally they didn't show a lot of respect for G2. You know, they were reckless at times, undisciplined, losing a lot of guns on those
using the UMP
rounds.
for about 12 rounds running.
Yeah, it seems that Flusher likes it in that drop zone. It's not a bad gun, honestly, to be honest, but yeah, and you can see how Fnatic, you look at this game and you see they're not doing anything special, you know, but they're just so good at the small things, at the fundamentals. They're so good at rotating, at getting those trade kills, at buying times for the rotations.
Talking about the rotations, there was that one moment where I think Olaf got picked off early by Scream, and then Crims basically picked up the orb and managed to hold them long enough at long for the rest of the team to get that perfect rotation, and they just had no chance of getting in A site.
Yeah, and you can see how Fnatic, how good of an understanding of the game they have at that point. So even though G2 gets some ground, Fnatic over-rotates at that point. They just leave one guy alone in B because they know it's only, I think it was 4-0 at that point, so the chances are small G2 is actually going to execute the fake now. So
which is where Shox, if it had been on point, could have made a real big impact.
They make an educated guess that it's going to be a commitment from G2 towards the A bomb site. The call was good, and then they just get the good trade kills with their fast rotations.
And speaking of the rotations, I do want to talk about, I think it was round 7. I've got it written down. It was a big important point. It was a 3v2 in favor of G2. And they rotated round. Scream had made the entries into A site. They rotated round. Didn't even get a sniff at the site. I didn't write down who was left open for Fnatic, but they just got completely shut down. Didn't even get a bomb plan. It's just, I mean, this is just Fnatic basically too good right now.
I mean, it's a combination of the two. You know, the main thing is I believe that they are so confident right now. They're super confident against any opponent. They're super confident in their own skills and their own performance. So even if they lose a couple of rounds here and there, even if they lose the rounds they were supposed to win, they're not going to care. They're just going to keep doing their thing. And so far, I mean, they've been winning all the way. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And there was that one tiniest glimmer of hope in the RPK ace in the final round of the first half. But Still a long way to go for them, no doubt about it. So we're going to go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, it will be the second best of one, which will be on Inferno, a map that G2 have beaten Fnatic on very recently. We'll see if they can do it again.